Hi, I'm Brian Crosser, former pro racquetball player as well as a racquetball consultant for Ektelon. I have been stringing rackets over the last 15 years and want to help give you some tips and tricks as to why the Ektelon series of rackets can be easy to string and what the benefits of the frame designs are as well as the frame technologies. They have been a leading developer in the industry with the technology, and I want to show you more about it today. Let me show you a series of tips. The first thing you're going to want to do when stringing a racket is give it a visual check. The main reason you want to give it a visual check is to make sure there's no kinks or dents or hairline cracks within the racket. The major reason in doing that, if you string it with a crack on it, it can create a broken racket. Next, when you're ready to start stringing the racket, you want to look at the racket, and you can see this player needs to get it restrung because there have been some wear issues on the racket. Next, the proper way to cut a racket is to start in the center with your clips and clip in a counterclockwise circular motion to relieve tension throughout the racket. Once you have the string fully cut, you want to properly select the stringing machine of your choice that would best be for racquetball rackets. In our opinion, the best type of mounting system is a 6 and 12 o'clock mounting system. What that means is when you mount your racket, your contact points will be at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. There are other mounting systems out there that clamp on the sides of the racket and put a metal-like device in the center down here when you clamp it that makes it very difficult to string racquetball rackets because the metal piece that's down there, it's hard to get down into the throat to be able to string the racquetball technologies that are out there, similar to the DPR and the Power Ring line of rackets. After selecting the proper stringer for the racket you have in front of you, we prefer the Prince Ektelon series of stringing machines because they've been around for 50+ years. You're going to want to pick the best string for the player and the best string for the frame. Ektelon has two types of strings. They have the Lightning series, which we will go into more detail later of the benefits of the Lightning series, or we have the Premier Power line that comes in black and red. If you're wanting to be more of a softer feel, a little bit more power, I would highly recommend the Premier Power. Otherwise, you can go with that Ektelon Lightning XX string for long durability. After selecting the proper string for the player as well as the frame, we need to figure out what is the best tension for that player. If they do not give you a recommended tension, I would recommend looking at the side of the frame here that says this racket is a 30 ± 4 pounds. This is the ESP Classic racket and the recommended tension is 30 ± 4. What that means is if you're wanting more control or more touch, you want to go on the higher end towards 34 pounds. If you're looking for more power, I would go on the lower end towards the 28 to 26 pound range. After selecting the proper tension, you're going to want to mount the racket on the stringing machine, which again, we recommend the 6 and 12 point mounting system. The best way to do that depends on the actual racket you have. So I would go to ektelon.com and visit the website to get the best stringing instructions for this racket. If you are using the 03 series of rackets, similar to this 03 RG or 03 White, they have the O ports on the side of the frame. The reason you want to make sure you mount it properly is so that you do not get off track when you're stringing the racket. You want to make sure that the Ektelon handle, the Ektelon logo on the handle is facing up, or if you cannot see the actual handle, similar to this 03 RG, you want to look at the side of the racket where it says short side. Make sure the short side is on the left side of the frame, which means when you start your crosses, you will start on the right. We want to take a look at the bumper guard before we start, make sure there's no strings or any cracks in the actual grommets or in the holes. And if you do have a problem with those grommets, Ektelon has an inventory from the last 10 years of grommets and bumper guards for all their rackets. However, you can get lucky, similar to this one. This is an old CBK from 25 plus years ago. You may be able to find it. There's rackets out there all over the place, and you definitely need to make sure you have them maintained properly. Now let's talk about the different frame designs. Ektelon has a method behind their strategies in designing the frames that they do. First, let's talk about the performance line, the Ektelon X03. The X03 line of rackets is the Toron Light. We have the Attack Light, the traditional Toron as well. What is the X03 technology? It is a bridge that is inserted on the outside of the racket. This reduces vibration and extends the strings outside of the frame to get optimal power. Next, let's talk about the ESP line of rackets, Extreme String Pattern. Ektelon created the Extreme String Pattern line of rackets to give you the ultimate control or the ultimate power, whichever you're looking for. Myself, I am a power-generated player, so you would think I would want the power racket. Actually, I need the opposite. I would prefer the classic racket, which has 18 mains and 20 crosses. The reason for this is to give me more control so I can hone down that power that I've got. However, somebody who wants to generate more power or wants to get more power, go to that ESP Toron line. It has 12 mains with the wide body string pattern to give you that optimal power and the result you're looking for. Next, we have the O3 line of rackets. This racket series was designed with the O ports on the side as well as the top of the racket to help with more aerodynamics as well as more string deflection. String deflection will help the ball trampoline more to get you more power. Lastly, there is a traditional grommet series Ektelon has, which can be found in the Pro series of rackets, the ESP Classic and ESP Toron, or can be found in the traditional value line of rackets. Next, I would like to go over the vibration dampener. Once the racket is fully strung, we want to put the vibration dampener back in if the player prefers it. Myself, I prefer not to have a vibration dampener in it. However, other players out there prefer to have the vibration dampener in. Ektelon sells the silencer, which has multiple functions in putting it into the string bed to give optimal flexibility to put in the frame to reduce vibration. First, let me show you the traditional way of stringing in the dampener for the racket. I would recommend starting in the center, skipping 2 strings, weaving, skipping 2 strings, weaving, and then pressing the cross down and lifting on the main to get the silencer strung in. Next, let's weave, skip 2, above, below, and push the main string down. Now we have the silencer in the racket to help reduce that vibration. The preferred way I like to do it is what we call the figure 8. Here is the end result. Let me show you how to properly tether this in. Here is the Toron RG. We can take this silencer. We recommend starting at the second cross. Push the main down. Now you're going to want to skip over to the next main. Go down, wrap around, and up the other side to create more of that figure 8 look. This helps reduce that vibration. As you can tell before, when the vibration dampener was not in, listen to the large ping. There is more vibration in the racket. That is why we want to properly tether these in to reduce. That will help with the shoulder and arm pains for you players out there. For those of you players out there that do not have a preferred stringer in your area looking for a new one, I would recommend going to the United States Racket Stringers Association to help get a certified stringer in your area, or find a master racket technician to get the best results on your rackets. For those of you looking to try out any of the products we tested or talked about today, I would recommend calling your local dealer. Go to ektelon.com to find out the dealer nearest you, or give us a call at our 1-800 number to find out more about our line of rackets and answer any questions that you have. Hopefully this gives you a better understanding of why we design the rackets the way we do, and find the best racket that suits you. Buy Ektelon and play with fire.